and it was not requited to me. He has redeemed my soul from going down into the pit. Behold, God does all these things twice, 3 times with a man, to bring back his soul from the pit. Thus, Job claims to be redeemed multiple times by God. Furthermore, Jesus says in Revelation 22:11, quote, "He that is just, let him be justified still."
So, if you're wondering what's going on, I am trying yet again to get this to work. I have a new mic. I have a new camera. So let's go another 5 minutes of Catholic converts versus True Christian.
If justification was merely a one-time event, a past reality, Christ's commission that the justified should be justified still would be unreasonable. Therefore, it is clear that one who is initially made righteous before God can be further justified and redeemed afterward.
So I really, really agree with her here. I like the way she's doing this part of the argument. I do think she goes a little bit long. I know that people like James White will say that these kind of opening statements should be even longer. I don't think so. I think it should be condensed and kept sharp. These conversations have been going on for a long time. You don't need to be beating dead horses.
This is seen explicitly with Abraham, who is said to be justified 3 separate times in the Bible. Once when he has enough faith to leave his home country in Genesis 12. A second time when he trusts that God will bless him with a reward in Genesis 15. And a third time when he offers Isaac on the altar in Genesis 22.
So I talked about this to a very mass extent on my debate, which is that God is outside of time, but we are still in the process of life. Therefore, for us, it is future tense. I understand that the event of the crucifixion was one singular moment in time, but that moment is always happening. We're always being saved. But for us who are living, we're in the process of either accepting or rejecting that salvation.
Thus, St. James speaks of what increases our justification in chapter 2 of his epistle. In verse 22, he says that works complete or perfect our faith, which means that faith alone without works is incomplete or imperfect. As a result, he states that, quote, "You see a man is justified by works and not by faith alone," in verse 24.
So I agree with this statement. Obviously, I like using James. When I was doing my research, I did Ephesians and I did James, but I wanted to use a Protestant resource. So I was using this one. This is IVP. And this is actually the same commentary that you would see in the Ancient Faith edition of the CSB, so the Christian Standard Bible. So I wanted to use Protestant sources, even though they themselves are looking at Catholic sources. Ironies upon ironies. Anyway, continuing.
This is the only time in Scripture the phrase faith alone is seen, and James condemns it. He cites 2 examples of justification by works. First, when Abraham offered Isaac on the altar, and second, when Rahab received the messengers and sent them out another way. Both of these people did righteous deeds out of fear of God and obedience to him. Thus, they were truly justified before God through these deeds, and not...
I don't like that she's playing the Protestant game of dividing out sanctification and justification. If you actually listen to 2 different follow-ups from the Trent Horn, Gavin Ortland debate, you will see that when they are not debating each other, they admit that in Catholicism, it's all one thing, while in Protestantism, it's divided out into several different things. I think that dividing out is a mistake in theology and possibly even a mistake in Christology.
Not simply by their faith. Such a claim of justification by works is in continuity with the Old Testament, since Psalm 106, 30 through 31 attributes justification to works as well. Quote, "Then Phinehas stood up and interposed, and the plague was stayed. And that has been counted to him as righteousness from generation to generation forever."
So I really like what she said there. Obviously, she's quoting the Bible, but I think she's got her ideas put together.
Even Martin Luther, the founder of the Protestant Reformation, agreed that the book of James, quote, "is flatly against St. Paul and all the rest of Scripture."
And I tried to actually bring this up as a debate topic with found cause, because I thought this would have been a great topic to debate of whether or not the Protestant point of view or the Reformers' point of view, that they didn't match up with something that modern Protestants would be willing to hold to. But Michael from Found Cause was not willing to go there. I do, though, think she's making a mistake by saying Martin Luther is the founder of the Protestant Reformation, because there were other reformers before Martin Luther. There was Wycliffe. There was different people who tried to publish unofficial or unsanctioned versions of the Bible. There were other reformers before Luther. All right, I want to cut it there. Let's see if this records.